All right, and welcome back. In this video, we are going to be starting Chapter 7, Section 1 titled Ratio and Proportion. By the end of this video, we should be able to express a ratio in simplest form. So please have out your guided notes. Let's begin. So a ratio is the quotient of two numbers, a divided by b, usually written as a fraction, a over b, or a divided by b, or a colon b, where b is not equal to 0. And a ratio is usually expressed in what we call simplest form. So in example number 1, we're asked to express each ratio in simplest form. So we have a, jk to kl, b, jk plus kl divided by ml, and the measure of angle J compared to the measure of angle L. Well, we have a trapezoid right here. It's an isosceles trapezoid, which is important to know. As we go over to the solutions, well, JK to KL is going to be 10 to 4, but we can simplify that to 5 to 2. For B, we have the sum of the length of JK plus KL divided by the length of ML. So we get 10 plus 4 over 10. That's equal to 14 over 10, which is the same as 7 over 5. And lastly, the measure of angle J to the measure of angle L. Well, the measure of angle J is 75. Measure of angle L is 180. Take away 75, so 105. So as we write our ratio, it would be 75 to 105. We can simplify to 5 to 7. With this in mind, please work on problems 1 through 7 on the guided notes and resume when you're ready to move forward. Ratios can be used to compare numbers, such as lengths or angle measures, but the quantities being compared must be in the same units. So example number 2, we are given that a sheet of plywood is 0.5 meters long by 35 centimeters wide. We want to find the ratio of the length to the width. And one thing that you're going to notice is that meters is not the same unit as centimeters. So we have a couple of different methods in order to find the solution. Method number 1, we can use centimeters because that's one of our units. Well, since we have 1 meter is 100 centimeters, and 0.5 meters is 50 centimeters, and the length over our width is 50 over 35, which is also 10 over 7. Method number 2, we could use meters. Since 1 centimeter is 0.01 meters, 35 centimeters is the same as 0.35 meters. So we have our length over our width. So 0.50 divided by 0.35 is the same thing as 50 over 35, which again becomes 10 over 7. And notice that the units used do not affect the final ratio, and that the ratio will have no units because we're just talking about the comparison and the ratio. We're not asking for the units. With this in mind, please work on problems 8 through 12 on the guided notes and resume when you're ready to move forward. So ratios can be used to compare more than two numbers. To compare 3 or more numbers, the most convenient notation is with a colon. So A colon B colon C. And in example number 3, we're given two different scenarios. One, or I should say A, two complementary angles have measures in the ratio of 2 to 7. Find the measure of each angle. And B, the measures of 5 angles of a pentagon are in the ratio 11 to 5 to 7 to 4 to 3. Sorry, I went out of order there. Let's redo that. The ratio is 11 to 7 to 5 to 4 to 3. We want to find the measure of each angle. So when we talk about a solution here, let's look over at A. Well, we know they're two complementary angles, and the ratio is 2 to 7. So if they're complementary, then we know that the sum is 90 degrees. We're going to let 2x and 7x represent the measures of those angles. So 2x plus 7x is equal to 90, again, because they're complementary. And we solve for x, and we get x is equal to 10. So therefore, the measures are 20 and 70. For B, we're going to approach it very similarly, and we're going to let x be the unknown measure. So we have 11x, 7x, 5x, 4x, and 3x, and that's going to represent the measures of those angles. We can add all those together and equal it to the sum of a pentagon. And to find the sum of the pentagon, we do 5 minus 2 to give us 3, and multiply that by 180, and we get 30x is equal to 540. 540 is a total sum of all the angles in a pentagon. We divide both sides by 30, and we get that x is equal to 18, but we're not quite done yet. We had to find the measure of each angle. So we're going to substitute in the value of x, and we get 198, 126, 90, 72, and 54. Awesome. With this in mind, please work on problems 13 through 17 on the guided notes and resume when you're ready for one last section. And a proportion is an equation that states that two ratios are equal. That's going to be a proportion. So the following are all proportions. A over B equal to C over D. A colon B is equal to C colon D. 3 over 6 is equal to 1 over 2. And 3 colon 6 is equal to 1 colon 2. In the first proportion, A over B equal to C over D. A is the first term, B is the second term, C is the third term, and D is the fourth term in that proportion. And that's going to be important because we're going to be using that next section. And an extended proportion is an equation relating three or more ratios. So A over B is equal to C over D, which is equal to E over F. Or 3 over 8 is equal to X over 16, which is equal to Y over 40. And with that, please work on problems 18 through 20 on the guided notes. Keep up the great work. Keep making yourself proud. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll talk to you soon.